أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Hello everyone, my name is Mahdi and I want to talk to you about the great miracle of the Quran in one of the smallest surah or Surah Quraysh, or as you might know it, chapter 106 of the Quran. In a nutshell, in a very small surah or chapter in the Quran, Allah specifies the Hajj season for both the northern and southern hemispheres, prophesies about the future of the Quraysh, and also confirms the true Quranic calendar. So let's look at verses number 1 to 3 of chapter 106 in the Quran. لإلاف قريش إلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف. For the Quraysh to remain unified and united, their unification for the travel of winter and summer, then they must worship the Lord of this house, who gave them food against hunger and gave them security against fear. The word Allah uses is ilaf. In order to understand the true meaning of the word ilaf, you should look within the Quran and see where and how this word was used. One of the examples that Quran gives us is from chapter 3 verse 103. إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا. So when you were enemies and Allah brought together your hearts, so you became brothers. Another example that Allah gives us in the Quran is verse number 43 of chapter 24. It says, أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ يُزْجِي سَحَابًا ثُمَّ يُؤَلِّفُ بَيْنَهُ. Don't you see that Allah drives the clouds, then He brings them together? And this is something that you can actually look at the sky and see for yourself, that clouds usually are in separate pieces, but then they come together and become one big cloud, usually before rain. And that is exactly what Allah is talking about. It's saying that for the Quraysh, which was composed of several small pieces such as Umayyad, Hashemite, and so on and so forth, to stay together, they have to worship the Lord of this house. It is saying that just like the clouds, they are going to disappear. The verse also is referring to two specific seasons, summer and winter, during which travels are happening. We obviously know that the Quraysh lived in Mecca or Becca, beside the sacred mosque, beside Al-Masjid al-Haram. So we know that Quraysh did not need to travel anywhere during summer and winter. So it is very easily understood that this travel is not for the Quraysh. So what is this travel about? We look at the next part and it says, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. They must worship the Lord of this house. So the surah, the verse, is giving us a hint that it is referring to Hajj or pilgrimage. So in order to understand the reference to the winter and summer, we have to have a very good understanding of the true Quranic calendar. So let's take a look at the true Quranic calendar together. As I have mentioned in previous Quranic conversations, the true Quranic and Islamic calendar is solar. It has almost 365 days, just like we have 365 occurrences of the word Yawm in the Quran, and it also has 12 months, just like we have 12 occurrences of the word Shahr in the Quran. Also, the names of the months are all clearly seasonal and pegged into seasonal or religious events. I have also demonstrated to you from the Quran that Hajj is actually the last 4 months of the year that start with Zulqa'dah or possessor of truth or sitting, and ends with safar or void, 0, which always happens before the first month of the new year, or Rabi'ul Awwal, or the first month of the spring. Interestingly, right now we are in Rabi'ul Awwal, or the first month of the spring, at the time when I am recording and posting this video. So let's look at the last 4 months of the year, which happen to be the 4 forbidden Hajj months. As I mentioned, the first month is Zulqa'dah, or possessor of truth or sitting. There's no wars. The second month is Zulhajj, or possessor of pilgrimage. The third month is Al-Muharram, or forbidden. And the fourth month is Safar, which means void or 0, for several reasons. One reason is that 0 always comes before 1, so you always know that the first month of the year is about to start. The other reason is that it is the last month of the 4 forbidden Hajj months. So basically, the forbidden Hajj months, when there was peace, security, and no wars, are about to become void. I really hope that this explanation that I just gave you clarifies the last 4 months of Hajj for you. But out of the 4 forbidden months, the first one happens in the last month of fall, but 3 of the 4 months, bulk of the 4 months, happen during winter. If you are in the southern hemisphere, the first month, the first forbidden month, happens during the last month of spring, but the last 3 forbidden months of Hajj, which happen to be the bulk of the months, happen during summer. Let me just show it to you. As you can see, these are the 4 forbidden months of Hajj: 9th month, 10th month, 11th month, and 12th month. Now we have the northern hemisphere here, we have the southern hemisphere here. As you can see, the seasons are the opposite in the northern and southern hemisphere. So when you have spring in the northern hemisphere, you have fall in the southern hemisphere. When you have summer in the northern hemisphere, you have winter in the southern hemisphere. When you have fall in the northern hemisphere, you have spring in the northern hemisphere. And when you have winter in the northern hemisphere, you have actually summer in the southern hemisphere. And as you can see, the bulk of the Hajj forbidden months, the last 3 of them, months 10, 11, 12, or Zulhajj, Al-Muharram, and Safar, happen during winter in the northern hemisphere, and summer if you are in the southern hemisphere. And that's why Allah is referring رحلة الشتاء والصيف, travel of the winter if you are in the northern hemisphere, and travel of the summer if you are in the southern hemisphere. So Allah is referring to the 4 forbidden Hajj months in this verse. Allah is technically confirming the true Quranic calendar and the fact that it is solar, and the fact that Hajj happens during the last 4 months of the year, which happen to be the 4 forbidden months in the Quran. So let's do a recap. This very small surah in the Quran has some really big and important and significant information for those who truly believe in the Quran, for the people of reason, those who meditate and contemplate when it comes to Allah and His verses. So Al-Shita, or winter, in this verse is referring to Hajj season in the northern hemisphere. As-Saif, or summer, in this verse is referring to Hajj season in the southern hemisphere. And also there's a huge prophecy in this verse that the Quraysh will be completely dispersed and dismantled if they do not worship the Lord of the true Kaaba, which actually is in Petra, Jordan, not in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. This prophecy was fulfilled after the Umayyads disbelieved, and the civil wars started. Unfortunately, the true Masjid al-Haram and the true Mecca in Petra were fully destroyed by the armies of Abdul Malik ibn Marwan and Hajjaj ibn Yusuf. However, the foundations of everything is still there. I have several other videos in which I demonstrate to you the Quranic symbols of Hajj and where they are located in Petra, Jordan. This small surah or chapter of the Quran also tells us about the true Quranic calendar. The verse confirms one more time that Allah's calendar is fully solar and definitely not lunar. You would not even be able to understand the true meaning of this chapter, this surah, if you go by lunar calendar. Because in lunar calendar you have a rotations of the months and the seasons, and the nasi or forgetting is happening every year in the lunar calendar without any remembrance. You are technically forgetting 11 days each year. A true Quranic year is about 365 days. Current lunar Islamic year is 354 days. So what is happening is that every year, by following a lunar calendar, you are forgetting 11 days and committing an nasi by forgetting 11 days. That's why the months and the seasons are being corrupted in current lunar Islamic calendar. As I mentioned, and I repeat it again, the true calendar of Allah, the true Quranic calendar is solar with 365 days and 12 months. It starts with Rabi'ul Awwal, or the first month of the spring, and ends with the month of Safar. And that is not something that is unique to us. It has always been solar. The true Jewish calendar was solar exactly like us until they changed it to lunisolar. So brothers and sisters, do not follow the wrong satanic calendar that majority of the people are following. And that is the lunar calendar. If you do that, your Ramadan will be wrong. Your fasting will be wrong. Your Hajj will be wrong. Literally, all your timing will be wrong. And that's why the followers of the current Islamic sects do their fasting wrong at the wrong time, do their Hajj wrong at the wrong time and in the wrong place. So as you saw in a very small surah in the Quran, Allah specifies the Hajj season both in the northern and in the southern hemispheres for us. Prophesies about the future of the Quraysh, and as you know, that prophecy has already come true. There is no trace of the Quraysh anymore. You can look for them, but there is none. And also Allah confirms the Quranic calendar for us as well. Brothers and sisters, I hope you learned something from this Quranic conversation. And as always, I encourage you to do Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, encouraging good and discouraging evil by spreading the truth of the Quran. Until next time, peace and blessings from Allah to all of you, and may Allah keep you all safe and in good health. Ma'as salam.